this is Dear and welcome to another video. Today we're doing another video and reading another chapter inside of Clockwork Chronicles, Hermit Outcry. We are reading chapter 13, Bdubs' perspective after chaos happened. And I would hope by this point you've read most of the chapters, if not all of them, and are up to speed of what's happening. And if you don't care, then I mean, that's fine with me, but yeah. Ideally you should know what's happening to understand what's going on. Anyway, let's get right into the video. Bdubs looked out the window. The blind is still covering a lot of the view. He heard his friend's soft breathing. He'd done his best to tend to his injuries, taking care of the burns from the firework. His friend luckily hadn't been too badly hurt, as he now slept on the couch with a blanket over him to keep him warm. Bdubs, on the other hand, was waiting for news, anything, to know what was going on. He could see the afternoon sun slowly waning as evening began to arrive. He only guessed that at least an hour had gone by. How long did it take to help one of their friends? Had something bad happened? Suddenly, he noticed the door open and close in the kitchen as he turned, seeing his escort holding a communicator. Is he still sleeping? The escort asked calmly. Yeah, Bdubs nodded. I don't want to wake him if I don't have to. We might need to, the man frowned. Jem wants you to come to her base. Now. Why? Did they find him? Bdubs asked quickly. The man nodded. He's in critical condition and she needs backup, in case the men try to fetch him or finish him off. They wouldn't. Bdubs gasped in horror. She doesn't want to take any chances. Devon is already there with Pearl and her escort. The escort replied. I'm sure Devon would want to know his charge is safe, where you can see him. I understand. Bdubs nodded as he got to his feet. He walked over to Scar, who was still sleeping, as he shook him gently by the shoulder, hearing his escort go into the kitchen and open a cupboard. He could hear the man putting things inside something as he shook his friend again. Scar groaned, opening his eyes sleepily. What's going on? Scar asked guardedly. I'm sorry for waking you, but we need to get moving. Bdubs said gently. Jem requested assistance. Is everyone? Scar asked. I hope so. But they'll have better chances if we go over there. Do you think you're up to flying? Bdubs asked. Yeah. Scar yawned, sitting up as he pushed back the covers. Hey, I don't feel any pain from those burns. Good. Bdubs smiled as Scar got up from the couch and wiped the sleepers from his eyes. Bdubs noticed his escort go for the back door as the hermit pulled his friend along. The group didn't say anything as they made it through the door and out into the late afternoon air. Bdubs grabbing for his rockets. Looking back as he saw Scar do the same. Three launched in the sky as Bdubs let his friend go. He flew steadily, his eyes focused in front of him, following his escort as they flew over the forest below, the hermit wondering if any of the men had been there to see them leave, or try to intercept them. So far, the sky seemed clear of any trouble, which was a relief as they spotted Jem's and Pearl's bases ahead. Noticing Pearl and her escort outside, working on some sort of boundary line of cobblestone, surrounding the two bases, as Bdubs landed on the earth below gracefully, followed by the others. Good to see you made it, Pearl said matter-of-factly. She looked over at Scar as she added, How are you? Never better, Scar said with a confident grin. Nothing Bdubs couldn't handle. That's good, Pearl nodded as Bdubs chuckled nervously. Jem's inside, tending the impulse. Okay. Bdubs nodded as he went over to Jem's house. Scar not too far behind as the door opened. Shelly! Scar exclaimed happily as they arrived at the door. Good to see you're okay. Devon mused as Bdubs noticed the man was holding something in one arm. Scar took a sleepy jelly from the man. Thank you. Bdubs said, That's wrong. Scar said gravely as he walked inside. Bdubs watched as Scar walked into the maid room, carrying his little friend, as the hermit looked over at Devon. What happened to over at Greaves? It's a long story, Devon sighed. Got your call during the meeting, and safe to say there were a lot of questions. Jem, Matthias, and I managed to slip away to find him. No, without trouble, though. Oh, just swallowed, as he looked over at the stairs. I'm guessing they're both upstairs? Devin nodded. You'd be correct. Before you go up there, Bdubs' escort said quickly. Coming up to the door, Bdubs tried best not to shout in surprise. The man was holding a box out to him. I brought some things she requested. I'll bring it up to her. Bdubs nodded as he took the box from the man, watching the man walk back to where Pearl and her escort were. What are they doing? They're building a security wall to try to slow them down, Devin replied simply. Not that it'll stop them from pulling over. Or flying, Bdubs added. A few of them managed to find some elytras. Oh, it was fun. Devin replied bitterly before smiling. You should probably get up there. I couldn't take care of things down here. We'll call you if we need you. Bdubs replied confidently as he went for the stairs. Going up them, as he carried the box with him, he managed to get to the top as the door down the hall opened. That big door. Bdubs, there you are! Jim said quickly as she stepped out of the room. I've got some stuff that'll help. Bdubs offered as he caught up to her, as she smiled. He let her take the box as he took the peek into the room. Just about seeing his friend sleeping in one of the beds, Jem walked inside. He followed her, closing the door behind him, as he watched her put the box down next to the table. I wanted to try something, but I didn't have the strength available at the time. Any strength available at the time, she said quickly, as she put some things in a nearby brewing stand. That's why I asked your escort to grab me some things. Why strength? Wouldn't healing and regen work fine? Bdubs asked. It would, she frowned, as she stepped back from the brewing stand. But it's not doing much. Whatever that thing did to him, it drained him of his energy. Aura. Oh, Bdubs replied quietly. I'm not entirely sure I understand. I found one of those eliminators attacking Impulse in a secret room in the tunnel system. She said matter-of-factly, but she put something else in the brewing stand. Not in the typical way it always did. It's like recharging itself with them. And he survived it? Bdubs asked, his eyes wide with surprise. Just about, she nodded slowly. Strength should help bring some of that energy back for a time. Bdubs nodded, walking over to the bed. Seeing his friend's pale, sleeping face under the covers, he didn't look to be in any pain. I think the men might come back for him. He knows something, Jem said calmly, as she took out a potion and poured it into an empty cauldron. He probably knew where Green and Dangle were. He does, Bdubs confirmed. Did Scar tell you? Jem questioned, a look of surprise and suspicion on her face. He did, before I called, Bdubs admitted. I didn't have time to tell you. It's okay. She smiled as she pulled the other two bottles and poured them into the cauldron. I knew you'd give answers when you had a chance. She leaned against the table as she looked over towards him sadly. I just can't understand why, she shook her head, or how any of this happened. I can only guess that he was there to throw us off, make us think Grand was safe when it never was. Bdubs nodded as he dipped a towel into the cauldron. The towel soaked until it was a deep red color. As he pulled back the bedsheets, Jem gently placed the towel over the sleeping hermit. Both of them watched in silence. The color began to slowly return to their friend's face. They both sighed in relief. Something's working, Bdubs noted, as he returned the covers where they had been. For now, Jem agreed, quietly. Someone's going to need to keep an eye on him, though, every once in a while, just to make sure. Hopefully he'll be strong enough to wake up soon, Bdubs replied, especially if the others are in danger. Jem nodded. I did find a communicator in there, one of the older ones. Did you get any information from it? Bdubs asked. I had to get him out of there. I only spotted it. Maybe one of the escorts did, she sighed. I didn't get a chance to ask. We'll figure this out, he said simply. I just hope they didn't hurt them. Worse, she said quietly. Me too, Bdubs agreed, as he looked over to the door. Do you want to take the first watch, or would you like me to? I could see if we can get some answers from Scar if he's up for it. Please do, Jem replied calmly. It'd either be me or you anyway. I can keep an eye here for now. I'll see you in a bit then, Bdubs nodded. And maybe I should trigger the invisibility detection system on my way up and down. Good idea. Jem smiled as Bdubs went to the door. Seeing her sit down next to the bed, as she grabbed something from a drawer. A blue book of some kind. As she began to read, he left her to it as he left the door open a crack, just to be safe. He went over to the wall and activated the system as promised, before going downstairs in hopes he would be able to talk to Scar, or maybe even one of the escorts to try and fit the pieces together on what happened. Anyway, that's gonna be the end of this episode, and yeah, that was chapter 13. How did you guys like it? Yeah. Chapter 14 next week is gonna be fun. You'll see. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you think of what's the story so far, and yeah, not gonna be as crazy as it is now. Maybe. Yeah. Anyway, see you guys in the next one. Never mind.